I mean, this was the meat of their schedule. This is where all of the first 2 months of inconsistencies were supposed to come home to roost against the better opponents in the NFL and cost the Eagles. And it looked for 2 straight weeks in inclement weather in Kansas City and in Philadelphia to cost them. Both times. Through 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, looking ugly. Down by 10 at the half in both games. Same score, 17-7. And then coming out, stepping on themselves again in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden, just like the Iron Bowl, just like Milroe finding Bond in the back of the end zone, Hurts finds Zacchaeus. Touchdown. And things began to change and roll in a different direction, and Hurts begins to roll again. And he finds Devontae Smith, speaking of Alabama connections, again. And Hurts finds the end zone again in overtime to win it. And how many times are the Eagles going to be tested in this manner? And it doesn't matter. That's 2 in a row. And this is the part of the schedule where the Cowboys are taking on Carolina and taking on Washington at home and watching the Eagles slip up so they can have a shot at the division. And this is the time when the 49ers are supposed to come back from their bye and start winning as they have and watch Philadelphia slip up so they can be within hailing distance of their Week 13 visit to win and take over the conference. And that didn't happen on the Philadelphia side of the ledger. Everyone else is holding their end. The Lions dropped the ball on Thanksgiving, but the Eagles have not dropped the ball when it looks like it's loose and slipping out and it's coming out. And even like 2 false starts by their Hall of Fame center with the game on the line and needing to get within field goal range for a last-second overtime forcing field goal by Jake Elliott. Even those 2 5-yard penalties by Jason Kelce didn't matter because Jake Elliott picked them up by popping it through from 61 yards out. And I know the Bills and some decision-making had a lot to play into this, but they got in Philadelphia yesterday, showing up for Buffalo, the Mandalorian quarterback, Josh Allen. I've been talking about that. We need to see the guy who's tough to put down on the ground. And I'm sure Bills fans will say, well, they did put him on the ground once by his back plate and his front of his jersey that got ripped, and there was no call as the son of Ed was staring it down. Didn't throw a flag on that, but that's, again, for another part of this program. But they did get Josh Allen, A++ Josh Allen. And they beat him back and took advantage of the mistakes, big and small, that the Bills made. And when the Bills' final mistake of the night on offense was an option route in the end zone, and Allen threw it one way and Gabe Davis went the other way, and they had to settle for a field goal, allowing the Eagles to march down and potentially win the game, and that's what they did. Man, the next 2 games, this is it. 1 seed's on the line, folks. Can the Eagles slip up in the latter part of their schedule in the final 4 games? When they're playing twice against the Giants around an Arizona team that had Kyler Murray once again punked by Aaron Donald and the Rams front 7? A visit to Seattle? Maybe. Next 2, this is it. If San Francisco doesn't get them, I don't think it matters what Dallas does. This 1 seed's done and the division's done. Obviously, if they win the next 2, I mean, smoke them if you got them. It's full-on Philadelphia feeling good. Lewis, we're cheersing Billy Ray, and the price of frozen concentrated orange juice is going through the roof, and crop reports are being handed off in garages. Like, it's full-on Philadelphia. If those 2 things happen.
Yeah, who's Beaks in this situation?
I don't know. Yeah. I guess what? Dan Campbell? Is he Beaks?
I guess so.
I don't know. Dan Campbell's Beaks?
Doesn't end well for Beaks.
I don't know. Because, I mean, how many times are they going to look like they're out. And then they pulled themselves back in. They certainly did that against the Bills Mafia yesterday.
And Buck still sniffing it? Okay.
Hey, the NFC is the Eagles now to win or lose. And it's pretty sweet, the schedule makers, man. The next 2 weeks is really where the rubber meets the road. Niners at home, Cowboys on the road.
Fun.
That's it. But kudos to Philadelphia. I mean, A.J. Brown, they won these last 2 games. A.J. Brown, he caught a touchdown yesterday.
But it was like a
these calories feel empty.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Like stuffing.
Huh. Nice. And, it's truly remarkable because Jalen Hurts is your MVP. It's just not the way he plays. It's the way he comports himself. I won't repeat how TJ, described it prior to the program because his mother's listening.
But it's
not correct. Because you can't tell. You can't tell whether he's up or he's down. You can't tell whether he's concerned or nervous.
It's like that Jim Caldwell face.
He'll be aired out by his favorite wide receiver, and he won't say anything.
I mean, nothing.
Nothing.
No emotion.
Nothing. Zero.
Don't want to see him.
And you
at the
see
poker
the
table.
players in the same way too. They had a shot at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the sideline while the Bills were driving in overtime to start overtime, and and Susie looked at the screen. She goes, "They look miserable," and they did. They did. But I'm just wondering if they just have the same Jalen Hurts face.
You don't know if he just won $1 billion in the lotto.
That's it.
You don't know if he lost $1 million.
Way to clean it up. And so
well done, TJ.
They take his cue, man. They take his cue in so many different ways. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.